I think being able to laugh through it and learn from it and sort of be able to make fun of yourself is really important. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Humans can come back from the worst things in the world. And it's true. Just, knowing that somebody did it before you too. People who've gone through the same thing.
Anneliese Vanderpool, welcome to the show.
Christie Scotch. That's what I want to say. I'm just kidding. That's not Christie's last name, obviously. Christie. And I haven't drank any scotch, not yet, and not for a while. But
that's generally the prep required for the show.
Oh, is it?
To match the last name, you know.
Oh, too bad I'm in AA and can't partake. But listen, we're gonna have fun anyway. We're gonna see.
Well, don't worry, I'm Mormon, so I don't partake either. So,
oh my gosh! Oh, how funny! Just two sober girls living life.
So
I love it.
I made the alcohol joke, to try and like be hip and cool, but it seems like that didn't have to land for either of us.
Right, totally. And you know what's funny? I think it's actually like more hip and cool now to be like us, right?
I know. It's such a fun time because I was always kind of the straight edge gal, and now I'm like the one who cares about my health. It's kind of a fun turn of events.
Yeah, totally. You're the one who's going to live longer. But I think also it's seen as, wise. And, I heard once everything. Here's a quote. We were speaking of your quotes.
Let's jump right in. Yes.
Yeah. I heard Ina Garten say recently on another podcast on Julia Louis-Dreyfus's podcast, Wiser Than Me. I heard her say everything in moderation, including moderation. I'm sure somebody else wrote that quote, but I thought it was so true. It was so true. Yeah, it is, right? I think, everything in moderation, it's fun to have to drink moderately. It's also fun to drink a lot, but again, everything in moderation.
Absolutely. I know. I love that. I love kicking us off with like exactly what the audience here wants. Just some quotes.
Some quotes. Oh, I thought you were talking about drinking.
No.
Totally quotes.
The quote part.
The quotes. I wonder if we could find a good quote about drinking. I'll have to look into that.
I'm sure there are plenty, but aside from those quotes that we need to find at some point, we're so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I was just telling you before that, I'm just that I'm excited to be here and answer some really thought-provoking questions that aren't necessarily so Disney children's entertainment related. Also, how do you say your last name? Scotch?
Scotch. Literally like the tape or the drink. Yeah. No, it straight up is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know.
That is so funny.
I know. It's like,
I love it.
You think it's like too easy to be true, but that's
what
it
love
is.
it. I love it. I love it.
Got to thank my husband for that one. But for those who aren't watching, who can't see your face, because I'm sure anyone who can see your face is like, I know that girl. But Anneliese is an actress and a singer and a performer, and you will know her from probably best from playing Chelsea on That's So Raven from like 2003 to 2007. So any of us millennial Disney gals, like you were our childhood, literally. So I'm fangirling a little. But aside from that, you were also Belle on Broadway. You've been in like a plethora of other TV shows and film. Then you did the spinoff of That's So Raven called Raven's Home. And I'm just so excited to get to chat with you a little bit more. Like you said, I mean, you have clearly very interesting experiences from That's So Raven, but just as a human being as well, growing up in the environment you did in entertainment, we're excited to hear your wisdom. But
oh shit!
Did I miss anything?
Pressure? No, you didn't. I wish you had, so I could come in not strong. Very good, very good. And she's not even looking at a piece of paper or my Wikipedia or anything.
I was glancing, and I did do a deep dive. I'm not gonna lie. But I wanted to come prepared. But totally. Truly, did I miss anything? When you're at a party, someone asks you what you do, what do you say to them now? I guess you're a podcast host. I forgot about that.
Podcast host. you did a great job. I think that's it. I mean, I'd be annoying if I told you all my regional credits and community theater credits, but I'm going to right now. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Please.
Those are all my reputable stuff. And yeah, I've entered into the podcast space, which is really great. I took notes, and I might sort of cheat a little bit here.
Please do.
But you know what's so funny with this question? What do I normally tell them? I'm usually so avoidant of this question, and it's got sort of two meanings for me. Usually I just sort of avoid the question, or I just take it straight to hobbies. What do I do? Oh, I like to hang out with my sisters and go to the Rose Bowl parade, antique shopping. I like to garden, that kind of stuff. But I'm usually just trying to. When I meet someone, they ask me what I do. It's funny. It's this juxtaposition of either they know and they're asking because, like you said, I was their childhood, or they grew up watching me, or they say something like I raised them, and that's the conversation. And so a little bit, how do I say this the nicest way? A little bit, I roll my eyes, like, oh, okay, I'm going to have the same kind of Chelsea conversation, or they don't know who I am at all, and I'm rolling my eyes because they don't know. So it's like,
how dare you?
How you dare? Yeah, not really, but of course I'm like, oh, now I'm going to have to tell them. And that's going to be a weird conversation. But so it's just really interesting. I wrote this down. I haven't wanted to be defined as Chelsea, even though it's given me such wonderful stuff. There's this sort of dichotomy between me saying, people who say, excuse me, you were my childhood, you were everything to me, and people who are like, who are you? What do you do? Which I think I sort of explained. And then eventually I say, I'm an actor and I'm a singer. Sometimes a lie will come out of my mouth because I'm trying to avoid any kind of Raven's home or that's so Raven thing conversation, just because again it's the same conversation, but then it's like it was like 10, 11, 12 years of my life, so what do people think I'm doing if I don't mention it? What what I'm just sleeping?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it was such a successful show too that I think like a lot of people just kind of are interested by that experience, because that's a one in more than a million shot of a person in the acting world being in a show that was that successful, that like big, especially during that time. But do you feel like a big weight from it?
Ooh, good question. Yeah, it's like this constant thing of, it's given me security. It's given me a lot of wonderful things. For gosh sakes, I met my fiance in Raven's home. During Raven's home, he came on to play my ex-husband, and now he's going to be my real husband. Cool. I mean, the gifts are endless. It's just this like whole thing of like, I'm just so much more than that. But that's my biggest credit. I mean, often I say Raven's name because I say the title of the show more than I even say my own name, which it's fine, and I can steer the conversation either way. But yeah, there's a kind of weight. It's a catch-22. It's complicated. It's gray.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's so funny because so many people that I interview on this show feel exactly the same way, no matter what they do. When you like obtain that level of success, it also comes with this tremendous weight of like, wait, no, but I'm way more than that. And so it's like you've wanted that success your whole life, but then once you get there, it kind of feels like you can't handle it or you don't want to handle it because you want people to see you as so much more.
Exactly. And there's almost no getting out of that. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And you can be grateful. You can be grateful, but again, like I said, it's complicated, and that's interesting. Though I feel more safe and sound, sort of hearing that you're saying your other guests feel that same way. Just it's like somebody who comes up to you and is like, hey, what, you can already tell that they know. And so they tell you their life story and when they grew up watching it. And I'm good at steering the conversation to something else about them, or just some current event, or just life things. So I definitely get to meet a lot of people along the way, which is a really wonderful gift. I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you wish though, do you have like a wish when people introduced you? Like, what would you ideally want them to say at this point in your career?
Ooh, that's a great
This wasn't
question.
part of the questions that you prepped. I'm just spitballing now.
Well, then here's another dichotomy. I'd like to be so famous and have so many really interesting credits, credible credits, respectable credits that nobody even comes up to me. But then again, I wouldn't, not really. But then again, that's not what happens. You're so famous, you can't go anywhere and you can't go up to anybody. So there's that push and pull. That grass is always greener. I mean, I wouldn't want to be that so famous to where, I couldn't go anywhere. But at the same time, I would like to not even have that conversation, for them to just respect my work from afar. And then I don't know. That's such a good question, though. Will you ask it again? I'm like, what was the question again?
You can circle back. I'm just wondering, like, when you're on like these podcasts and stuff, I know it must just get tiring being like, and she was Chelsea on That's So Raven. And I just wonder, what is the ideal of how people intro you?
No, you're so right. And I hope I don't come off as, gross or ungrateful. Like, that is definitely the conversation, but it's sort of my fault, right? It's like, I haven't really got a credit that's topped that yet. I almost think that's the way it's set up. I think that's the way children's entertainment and being a child star. I don't know if you read Jeanette McCurdy's book or know anything about it, but it really is designed this way to where you're stuck in it forever. And I wouldn't trade it. I really wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade the friendships I've made, the house I bought, those things. But, unfortunately, like, I was just thinking, like, if I was on another Broadway show right now, because I did Disney, I did That's a Raven, and then I did Beauty and the Beast. I was kind of always in that Disney bubble, and that's still kind of children's because it's an animated, live show eventually. But anyway, if I was doing a Broadway show right now, like, would people ever see me differently? I don't know. Will anyone ever see Zendaya as not Zendaya? I mean, they've definitely gotten away from she's gotten away from Shake It Up and being a Disney star. She's a model now, and now she's Zendaya. But will she never be Zendaya? To me, she's like Cher and Madonna. I can only see Zendaya, but I don't know. It's all. I think that's on me. If I had a bigger credit, then that's what people would talk about. I just heard Kate Winslet speaking about this, and she says that everybody still comes up to her about Titanic or The Holiday. Like, nobody cares about the regime or, you know what I mean? Like, and so there's beauty to that too.
Yeah, it's just that's just the human condition, or especially when you're on something like a podcast, like, people are just going to try and tell everyone this is where you're going to know the person best from. And I guess you just roll with it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I'm happy. And I'm so glad it's Chelsea. Chelsea was a wonderful character and a good person,
Yeah, no, she was.
Yeah.
Well,
and now she's
let's
dead.
just get right into it. She was great. We loved her. R.I.P.
Yeah. Rest in peace. But seriously.
Actually. If you are listening to this podcast, you are probably a fan of inspirational quotes. And if that's the case, then you should check out my book. I feel that it's a cute little retro book with each chapter being a different emotion and then quotes that can help you with that emotion. So if you're looking to support me or the show, if you need a cute little gift for a friend or just something to flip through when you're feeling down one day, then this book is for you. You can purchase it at quotesbychristie.com, which is my website, or the link will be in the show notes. So, Anneliese, do you have a best piece of advice that you've ever gotten?
You're saying my name so beautifully. I really appreciate it.
I'm so glad.
Here's my best piece of advice. And I really tried to think about this. I usually like to kind of think about this in regards to women specifically. And I thought of some things, but I narrowed it down to this, and maybe it's really obvious, but invest. My mom made me, I don't want to speak out of turn or assume anything or be out of touch. I really think no matter what you're making, even the smallest amount of money, that not enough people tell you to invest, and they certainly don't when it comes to young girls and women. I don't know why they don't in school. I know people who've gone to college, great, wonderful colleges, and not enough people tell them to invest. My mom made me buy this house when I was young. When I was 19, she made me, put a down payment on this place that I have now that I live in and I've paid off. And of course, that's because I've been allotted wonderful gifts like Raven's Home and That's So Raven. But I just think you need to put a small amount of money away every month, even if you think you're not making a lot, even if it's $10 or $25, it needs to be in a high yield investment savings account. If you're not getting any interest off of your money, even if it's $20, even if it's $10,000, that's actually, you can get some serious money back monthly, and it adds up. It adds up quickly. So really, that's what I would say, and it has nothing to do with the business. But I just wish. How many times do you hear somebody say, like, "Did you know if you put away $25 every month since the age of 10, you would be a millionaire by now?" Those things are true. Those things are true. Yeah. So invest. That's the best piece of advice. Invest. I hope that's good.
Honestly, I think that's great advice, because, I mean, generally we go with the more sentimental advice. I feel like a lot of people go with the more sentimental advice. But the fact is that finances and money is a massive part of everyone's lives. And if you're not thinking about it all the time, it's probably because you're lucky enough not to have to. So I feel like that actually really is a wonderful piece of life advice, because it will help you throughout your life, because your finances really do dictate a lot of your satisfaction, I would say. Maybe not satisfaction, and definitely not happiness, but like your security in life.
Your security, exactly. My mother really knew the value of $1, and she also wasn't obsessed with money. She wasn't obsessed with things and having things. She didn't want for much. Until it came to something important. And money doesn't necessarily make you happier, but it definitely makes things easier. And I think life is hard. And for young people, it's really, really hard. And I just don't know. I think we're moving towards a generation where young people are not going to be able to afford, homes, let alone other things, paying off their school debt or whatever. But I just think, maybe don't buy that shirt. Maybe, or you can buy, one shirt this month, but maybe don't buy 2 shirts, or don't buy the matching shoes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, really, that's so fleeting. That object and the happiness you gain with that object is so fleeting. And just to save, I can't tell you how many people I know that have worked in the same business as me who don't have their money. Who do not have their money. They did not put their money in property. I mean, all of my friends, all of these child stars and Broadway actors, and just a lot of people. That's what I would say.
Well, I feel like, you're also in a very particular situation that I don't know how people deal with that. I mean, you auditioned, I think I read, for That's So Raven at 15 years old. You started film. I mean, were you 15 or 16, I guess, then, when you started getting paid to be in it? And
yes,
what was that like then, having that kind of income at that age?
Right. Well, I have to accredit my mother. Oh, there's the pun there, kind of. Credit, get it? Well, that's a reach, and I'm reaching. No, that's a great question. Actually, my mother had me working in my school cafeteria just to know how to work, and again, learning the value of $1 and how to make money. When I was like in 7th grade, I woke up really early, 4 o'clock in the morning, went to the school cafeteria and made food, made basically the food that the kids were going to eat. And then I had like summer jobs at the JCC and little things like that. And then, yes, I made I want to say I think $1,300 a week when I first started doing That's So Raven. And I think IATSE, was IATSE going on then? I think they took a percentage away. I can't even remember. But my mother helped me set up a bank account and didn't take any of my money. All of my money went straight to that bank account. She also helped me sign up for EDD, because actually the taxes that you pay and the money that goes away, when in the weeks that you're not working, she told me how to really, get the money back from the government that you put in through taxes, that you can how to use the system to your benefit when you need it, how it's set up. I'm not explaining this well, but I'm invest your money. I might, it's making sense. Okay, great. I might not have all the mathematical terms, but that's a good question. It was fine. I was making money and I knew what to do with it. And my mother was very, very helpful. So it wasn't a big shock to me. I felt like I knew what to do with it. Now, later on, when I got into my teens and you rebel and you start to think you're more of an adult than you are, I spent my money on stupid things, But again, those investments saved me from doing those stupid things, or saved me from really, being bankrupt or collapsing or falling under, because I spent my money on stupid things,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like your case, and again, I'm not an expert in child stars. You probably would know more about this, but I feel like your case is pretty unique. I feel like a lot of child stars end up spending all their money.
Yes. And they do, but it's quite complicated. I was just watching The Dark Side of Comedy. It's a documentary, and they spotlight different comedians, and one of them was Screech. I'm blanking on his actual name, excuse me, but Screech from Saved by the Bell. They kind of, did this 30-minute piece on him. And I beg to differ. I had some sort of qualms with how it went down, only because I was like, did he really just spend it on toys and everything? Or how much was he really being paid? How much did he pay his manager?
Yeah.
How much did he pay his agent, his publicist? How much did his parents take away? Who taught him how to be with his money? Nobody, like there's a lot of ways in which it's not his fault, and the way the system's designed. I feel like I wish, and I'm taking my time, but I wish I was more educated on this topic, because it obviously interests me, and this is a great conversation, and I care. But I find whenever I'm talking to Christie Carlson Romano, when we're doing our podcast, she is so well equipped with knowledge on this and what to do and how to approach it and why these things are the way they are, why it's designed that way.
Do you have a best piece of career or professional advice that you feel like you've ever gotten?
It's not a quote. It's advice in basically acceptance, about working on acceptance. My sister's a therapist, and she talks a lot about that. And this is something that my fiance and I talk about, especially when it comes to his career. But I think it applies to anyone, whether you're in the business or not, whether it has to do with your career or family matters or whatnot. But living in acceptance, really asking yourself, am I okay if this is it, if this is my life? And maybe you're not, but how are you gonna, what are the things you can change and what are the things you can't change? And I've come to learn over the years that it's, is to not want for things that, of course, aren't yours. And it's okay to accept anything that you're going through. Not expecting, but accepting. There's this term in expectations are resentments waiting to happen. And I just think there's just such beauty in not knowing what's going to happen. We're not in control, whether you're religious or not. Like, you really don't know what tomorrow brings. And there's such beauty in that. It just really lets you know how inferior you are, and that we're really all in this together. Just acceptance work. I think John Mulaney said too recently, I love his new show. He was being interviewed. This is separate from that, but he was being interviewed by David Letterman. And he said he only plans his job, his work, and most things 3 months ahead. And that really made sense to me. I was like, yeah, 3 months sounds good, because you're still planning. You have to have some sort of plan that keeps you structured and keeps your head on straight. But yeah, that really spoke to me. I love all of that. All of that. Acceptance, expectations, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love that. Are there times in your life where you felt friction because you knew you had to accept something, but you didn't really want to?
Yes. There's been a lot of that. Through it, though, I've learned that I'm really quite resilient. I've been through a lot. I've been through loss of jobs that weren't my fault, and lots of being fired for jobs that were my fault. Wow, I cannot talk right now. Maybe because the subject matter's kind of gives me anxiety a little bit. But I drank and did drugs and got fired from a lot of theater jobs as well as TV gigs. But I'm sober now, but I got through it. My mother died in a car accident, and obviously that was really unexpected. And I just really think time heals everything, that I'm resilient, and that that's what we learn about human beings, that we do just keep going. We do get through it one way or another. I don't know if that specifically answers your question.
No, that was beautiful.
Thanks. I don't know if that's...
Oh, no, really.
I think laughing through it's really important. I think being able to laugh through it and learn from it and sort of be able to make fun of yourself is really important. But yeah, there's light. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Humans can come back from the worst things in the world. And it's true. Just, knowing that somebody did it before you too. People who've gone through the same thing.
One of the questions I also like asking, which is, a lesson that you've learned from one of the most difficult times of your life. I'm so sorry that that happened with your mother. And I mean, that might have been it. It might have been something else in your life that you feel like was difficult, but was that biggest takeaway just your resilience? Were there other things that you learned along the way?
No, I might have been looking when I was looking at my notes, I might have been answering that question, but yeah. So thanks for tying that up. Yeah, that is the biggest thing I've learned. Like, I'd like to say something eye-opening happened, or, I've learned a lot. I've learned how important networking is. I've learned the power of yes and the power of no. I've learned just more about myself, how much I don't really care anymore what people think, and how much making it or what I do is not who I am. And I just learned, like, through this all, like, I truly think I could get through anything. As I approach my marriage, it's really exciting. I often think of that, the "you complete me" phrase, but then I also hear I have this, the devil and the angel on my shoulder, and the caveat of that, or excuse me, the rebuttal of that would be, that two whole people need to find each other. I don't need anyone to complete me, and I'd actually really be fine without him. I don't need him. I choose him. Life is way more fun with him. But my gosh, I think, I don't know. After my mother died in that terrible way, I just don't think, I can't imagine. I think, I don't know. But then you think about people who getting sick and going through an illness like that, or I don't know. I would hope that I could be strong enough to get through that. Anyway, I should go like this. Knock on wood. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, if I have any wood, I'm going to knock on it for you. No, but okay. I totally understand that. Do you feel like, was there anything in particular when your mother passed away? I can't even imagine the trauma surrounding that, but how do you feel like you healed? Was there anything that anyone said to you in particular that really helped you with that grief?
Yes. Which is so weird. I'm not religious. I'm Jewish, and I'm culturally, I feel very culturally Jewish, and close to my Russian roots and the traditions I still celebrate. But in AA, I have my higher power, and I definitely, like I said, know that it's not in our control. And again, that's freeing. But I think the thing that helped me, that people said to me during this time, which I was able to feel close to a higher power in this, is that, like, energy and spirit is so in action. It's so, I don't know, it's so out there. Like, my mother lives through me. And my mother is still alive in everything I say and that my sisters say. I talk about her more now than I did when she was alive. Of course, when people pass, you remember more of the good, which for me, because my mother was quite difficult, is important. I definitely think about, I'm writing now. I'm writing a lot, and I'm having to get into the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. But my mother was so smart, and I had so many great lessons that I use on the daily. And like that the dust, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I mean, yes, she's in the ground. She is in the air. Truly, she's buried under the ground. And I feel like her, as our bodies become part of the earth and the world, they're part of us. We're living together in the universe in some still way. Like, these people are never really gone. How could they be? They were once so alive. They're in our memories. They're in our hearts. They're in, again, the things and the actions and steps we take on a day-to-day basis.
That's really beautiful.
That's a great question. That's a great question.
No, I think that is so comforting for anyone who's lost anyone. And honestly, it's even just a fact of life. Everything is replenished in some way. Nothing, I don't think anything is lost. I think we continue. I think the things around us continue, just in different ways.
Exactly. You're putting it much more concise than me. I mean, listen, I definitely want God to say at the Pearly Gates, everyone's waiting. She's back here. Like, I definitely would like to see her again.
Don't we all?
Don't we all? Yes, exactly. That's what I would really love to hear her say at the Pearly Gates, that your mother's waiting. But, I don't know. She's just still very much alive. And that did help. When people said that to me. It really did. I thought, oh, okay, I don't have to say goodbye yet. So I so often wish I could hear what she would have to say about things. What would my mother think of this? What would she say about that? All the things going on in the world. I really wonder what she'd say.
I love that. Do you have a worst piece of advice that you've ever gotten?
Oh, yes. Worst advice. I mean, when people are just like, I don't know if this is their advice, but like when they're like, oh, just don't worry about it with all the comments on social media, the negative comments, when they say, fuck the haters, fuck the comments, or when people say no regrets, no regrets. First of all, I hate the no regrets thing. And I'm a very avid reality show watcher. And that's just a line, a quote that I hear women say and men all the time. No regrets. It's like, really? None? You have none? I have so many. Okay. I don't know how you learn from anything or how you change and, not make the mistake again. But I want to scream to them, we're living in a society. Like you have to have regrets. You have to learn from those regrets.
It's called the conscience.
Yes. And you can't say F the haters. Some of these people, well, first of all, hate never solved anything. I don't believe I really believe that two wrongs don't make a right. I don't believe in in the death penalty. I don't want to go there, but I really just don't understand war. I don't understand retaliation. I just know that the only thing to solve anything is coming from love. So you can't say F the haters. Those are people that probably need the most help. Listen, you can't get into it also too. You can't be dangerous. I've said no to an opportunity, to a job, to things. And sometimes something better has come along. Actually, often that's happened. Sometimes saying no reaffirms your self-worth, but you have to really feel it deep down, you have to really believe that. I've had a lot of things happen like that where I've said, no, I don't think so, or that doesn't feel right. And then I felt I was opened up to a different opportunity. I had time and space for that new opportunity. So when one door closes, another opens. I really feel like that. I feel like that with my girlfriends and men, I feel like you got to let one go you can't monkey branch. You got to let one go to give that energy that you're ready and free and open and available for somebody else to come into your life.
Yeah,
if that makes
absolutely.
sense. I love that parable. It's a parable about a Chinese farmer that I once heard somebody say in AA. This gentleman had it so memorized, and I wish I did too. I can maybe give the Cliff's Notes, but basically something good happens and then something bad happens. Something good happens, something bad happens. So his horse runs away, and everybody in the town says, "Oh no, your horse ran away." And they said, "What a terrible thing." And he says, "Maybe so, maybe not." And then his horse comes back with 10 other horses. And everybody in the town says, "Oh my gosh, you have a whole herd of horses. How wonderful." And he says, "Maybe so, maybe not." And the parable keeps going. And basically his son gets on one of the horses, and the horse throws him from from himself. And he gets hurt. He breaks his leg. And everybody in the town says, "Oh no, how horrible." And he says, "Maybe so, maybe not." And then the government comes because they're about to have war, and they're coming to recruit a bunch of soldiers, and his son can't go to war because he's got this broken leg. And everybody says, "Isn't this great? He doesn't go." And he goes, "Maybe so, maybe not." And it goes on and on. And really what it's saying is you just, again, don't know what life's going to bring. And while, you might focus on the negative, like, "Oh no, so this terrible thing has happened, or this great thing has happened. Should I not celebrate?" No, celebrate the wins. But out of anguish, out of disaster, after horrible things, wonderful things come. They really do. It's amazing. And it's really important to see life like that, and not, of course, glass half empty. That's what was really wonderful about playing Chelsea too. She was so glass half full. She was such a cheerleader for her friends, and she had really a thirst and zest and open-eyed view on life. Anyway, I've put a lot of topics in one. But
I really love that. It reminds me of a video that I saw probably on TikTok, but that doesn't sound super intellectual, so I'm just going to say that I saw it somewhere. But it was a video, and I think the guy in it was just saying, like, you consider the idea that maybe we don't always know what's best for us. Like, consider that, like, the thing we want most might not be what's actually best for us. And I feel like that's what that parable kind of reminded me of. Like, we always think that we know what's best for us, and a lot of times it's very different from what we think.
Yeah, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Again, it's like this control that you think you have. It's the same thing. Again, I'll bring up AA, that you don't have power after the first drink. Who do you think you are that you can overcome this crazy, crazy poison? You're not. Why not look up at the stars and marvel at the birds and the trees in the sky and think, that shit's crazy. I never could create that. I must not be in control here. You know, it's very freeing.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that.
I feel like you've learned lots of good life lessons in AA. Is there a best piece of advice or lesson that you would give to others, maybe that you took away from your experience in AA, your experience recovering from different substance abuse, that you think would help other people?
Maybe this is just so simple, but I really think life is short, and you better get to living. You better get to living. You better get to getting as happy as you possibly can. Truly, I just think so many things are fleeting. Health things, you know, whenever you make a wish, it should really just be for health and happiness. That really all we have is each other. And I mean, I don't know, this is sort of outside of AA, but I just think everyone's really quite singular, quite selfish. And this is what I'll say. This was a quote of my mother's. I don't know if you've asked this question yet. One of my favorite quotes.
Is this your favorite quote?
Yes.
No, but let's hear it. I was going to next.
My mother was really in service, and that's what AA is about. So to answer your question about AA, I think true happiness comes from being of service, which really means helping people. And I don't think you're really helping people, meaning you're not getting that real sense of joy and happiness deep, deep in the heart, unless you're truly being inconvenienced, unless you're really taking time out of your day to help somebody when you don't have time. And my mother wrote this. Yeah. My mother was really about helping the homeless and instilled that, and helping anybody in the community, and that it starts with community. And that's important, knowing that when you want to make change, you know, you have to start small. It's really hard to start big, and can be much more helpful when you turn to thy neighbor, literally. But my mother always, whenever I would do a play or a musical, she'd get me an opening night gift or a closing night gift. And it would always be something really quite interesting that she got off of eBay. So it would be like a playbill from the 1940s, from when the show was originally produced, or a piece of lace, or a piece of jewelry maybe that was from that time period. And I always felt like, this sounds so ungrateful, but I always felt like, you know, Mom, I don't want this. I'm 15. I'm 21. I just want like a gift certificate to Amazon, or I just want like a cool shirt from Zara, a cool outfit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like she was giving me those gifts, so everybody in the dressing room, everybody around me would be like, "Oh, your mother's so smart. Your mother's so clever. Where did she get that? How interesting!" And I would just put it in a box somewhere. I didn't care. And after I told her this one time, I said, "Mom, like, why don't you do that?" One time I had come over to her house, and she really got the note. But one time I came over to her house, and she had the most adorable, gorgeous earrings on. I said, "Oh my God, Mom, those are so cute. Those are so cute. Where'd you get them?" And she told me, and I was like, "Do they have any more?" And she didn't think they had any more. Anyway, I said, "Can I have them? Can I have them?" She said, No, I love these. Absolutely not. And then a few weeks later, she sent them to me in the mail, and she wrote this quote, which I love. She wrote this herself. "She who gives what she won't miss knows nothing of what giving is." And I love that. I first of all love that she said she instead of he, and that it really meant something to her. It was really something that she had just done, because she sent me the earrings with it. So she sent me the earrings and a little note in the mail, and I was living in New York, and I just thought that was so lovely, and it's so true. If you won't miss it, you really don't know what it is to give. But when you do miss it and you give it, the deeper meaning, and that's what AA is about. It's really about helping each other and coming together in a world that's so divided. It's really so divided right now, and so singular on these stupid freaking devices, you know, this stupid social media. And I know we've got to do it, but there's got to be a better way. And I'm looking forward to that. I really wonder what my mother would say now about it all. I really do.
I'm with you on that. I could not love that anymore. I honestly feel like that encapsulates so many of the thoughts that I've had, and I never knew like how to encapsulate it. And that little quote that she shared is so beautiful and profound and true. I think us, especially as millennials, and probably even more so Gen Zers, to be honest, no offense guys, but also kind of offense, I feel like everyone wants to feel like we are serving and we're giving back, but we don't want it to cost us anything. We don't want it to take away our time. We don't want it to take away our freedom, our independence. And yet we're super sad. Our mental health is not doing great. And we are like, well, why not? Like, we're helping people. It's like, but you're not really giving anything of yourself. You're just doing it in a convenient way and hoping that it sticks. And that's not what service is.
That's not what service is. And it's important to, you know, that's why community and group and therapy and whatever is so important, whether it's, you know, the Boys and Girls Club, whether it's your local JCC, whether it's community theater, whether it's theater at your school, whether it is AA or anything. Alcoholics Anonymous, AA is kind of just like, you know what, one time somebody said in AA, I don't understand why I have to be in AA just because I'm an alcoholic and people who aren't alcoholics just get to walk around the world like assholes, you know? Like, I have to be in here because I have a drinking problem and I'm going to become a better person. But all these other assholes, just because they don't drink, they're still acting like assholes. Like, where are they going to go? They need to go somewhere too, you know? Like, we all, so of course, need help. And we all, you have to give back for you. You have to do something on wet. And that doesn't, it could be once a year to start, you know? But you gotta, because for you, there's wonderful Maya Angelou quotes about that, about what makes the world go round, and it's helping people. You know, I wish I had a few of them up. What are some of the best quotes you've heard? I'm sure you've had wonderful guests who've. What do they say? I was looking up ones from Alice Walker, from Maya Angelou, from Erica Young.
Oh gosh, I mean, there's been so many.
I'm catching you off guard.
No, there's been so many good ones. And it would be at best a paraphrase. I'm
sure they're all in your book too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my favorites are in my book. I think I had a conversation with Cheryl Strayed, the author, and that one will like always stick with me. She, I asked her like what she would tell her younger self, and she was just like, "You're gonna be okay. Like everything feels like it's the end now, but you're going to be okay." And like, we weren't meant to just keep producing. And I think she said, we're just meant to keep walking or something like that. And it was just beautiful and profound, but there has been a pervading theme of like what we were just talking about, of this idea that I think we have to give of ourselves a little bit more. We have to be willing to sacrifice parts of ourselves to find that fulfillment and that happiness. And I think that's maybe one of the keys that we're missing in today's society, is not being willing to sacrifice any part of ourselves for someone else or for a relationship or for a community, like you said. And it's really sad.
That's interesting. The word sacrifice too. Like, what's that about? You know, like that also sort of makes you think of religion, right? Like, which is an important thing too. That is a sense of community. And that's sort of, you know, going by the wayside. I think people are believing in, you know, which is in a lot of regards sort of sad, again, because of this community reason. I heard Ina Garten say something, you know, about getting older, that when you're younger, you are wondering what your life will be. You don't know what your life what will become of you. But when you're in your 60s, 70s, you knew what became of you. And now you get to just live. You get to just do what you want to do. And I think, I would tell younger people, like, it's like so simple, but like, I don't know, the things you care about now are not the things you're going to care about later. They're just not. You got to care about each other. Everything is in each other. The business that you want to do, the money that you want to make, the traveling that you want to do, all these wins, the things that you think matter, they're in the person next to you. They're in the community. You're not going to get there alone. You're just not.
I love that.
Yeah. I love all of it. I feel like I learned some stuff today.
Hey, that's the goal. We learn things from each other, hopefully share them with other people. And that's, like you said, that's what's going to keep us going. But everything that you shared today was so beautiful and so profound and so much more. You are so much more than just Chelsea from That's So Raven. And I'm so glad that I got to know that person.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. Thank you for saying that. And I'm really glad I got to know this liquor drinking. No, just kidding. Scotch on rocks, Christie.
Just the wild Christie. That's what they call me. But Anneliese, you're so sweet to join us. We want to know where everyone can go to support you and to continue hearing from your wonderful thoughts. I know, like you said, you have a new podcast. You might have some writing in the works. So where can people go?
Thanks for asking. And I don't have as many wonderful followers as you, so listen up, everyone. Okay. I'm on Instagram at Anneliese Vanderpool, spelled exactly like that, Anneliese Vanderpool. On TikTok, it's Anneliese VDP. On YouTube, Big Name Bitches has their own YouTube account, okay? And we're really trying to get people on there, right? So just on our own account. So please follow and subscribe to YouTube's Big Name Bitches and follow at Big Name Bitches on Instagram and on TikTok. And I'd really appreciate it. And thanks so much for letting me have this more in-depth conversation than I'm used to having, Christie. I'm really honored, truly.
Oh, you're so sweet to join. And to everyone watching and listening, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much.